listening to Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's noon Pacific. No, it's not. It's 4 p.m. Pacific for about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We do 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube and simulcast it over at gunchannels.com. We're watching the comments that are coming in from Gun Channels and over on YouTube. Once in a while, we'll take the audio from it and post it up on iTunes as a podcast. So we encourage everybody who's listening to the show now or in the future to give us some feedback on every show so that we know where you're at. And that interaction, that favor that you do us will eventually help us to get recommended to more listeners. And that is our goal. So we do appreciate the people that take the time to do that favor for us. There are 4 hosts. We're all here today. We got Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining.
Hey, glad to be here, eh?
We got Daniel jumping in from Illinois.
Better here than somewhere else.
So, and then Smeggy over in Michigan.
Hey, how's everyone doing today?
And I'm down here in Arizona. So let's see. Today is episode number 344. It's a Thursday, so we're talking CCW. Weapons light versus handheld will be our first topic. And we're going to talk about wills in our gun stuff segment. Talking about something in gun training. And then we have our normal stuff like our gun shop of the day, our gun of the day, the movie, all that kind of stuff. But before we dig into it, usually we take a break at the beginning of the show, see if anything happened overnight that's worth talking about.
Matt had a pretty good chat last night, pretty long.
Yeah, I didn't watch match chat last night. I don't know. I didn't really see nothing. There's a news story that everyone was talking about today, but I certainly don't want to mention it now. I've talked about it like 10 times already today. So
I don't have anything. Not today.
Had some productive business meeting type chats last night, but that's more behind the scenes stuff.
Yep, all kinds of neat stuff. We talked about it a little bit in the Patreon pre-show. So thanks to everybody in Patreon who wanted to jump over and listen. And we'll be talking more about that. But I can leak some of the good some of the good news. I had a conversation.
You learned how to talk?
I had a conversation with the people that are going to be printing, I guess I should say, the playing cards, and had a lot of questions for them, and everything came back great. There seemed to be a really good company, really whatever. They're going to willing to work with all the crazy details. Like I want to be able to go film the cards going through the printing press and stuff. They're going to facilitate all that. So really looking forward to the adventure. It's going to be fun. And the best news is they're not going to take anywhere near as long as I had anticipated. Working with Bicycle Playing Card Company, I had a month or so wait before to get in line. Once everything was figured out and ready to go, there was like a month wait, and then once they were in line, they took a while, like another month or something. They took a while to print. It was almost like once everything, the artwork and everything was put to bed or whatever they say, it's almost like you forgot about them. They're gone for so long. And then out of the blue, they're done. Here they are. So this will be a lot faster. In fact, if everything comes together, without any real bad problems, we might be able to have these things out and in people's hands by the end of July. That's the kind of how fast we're talking. So we'd anticipated September. That's like almost 2 months early.
That's excellent. That's really good news, man.
Well, that'll be perfect because then people can go and take their cards to their all of their family picnics and stuff in August, family reunions and stuff, and go play euchre or something.
Yeah.
I'll be taking my decks up north. I know that.
All right. Are we having the same issue on the YouTube today? Matt's chat seemed to be flowing fine yesterday. No, nobody's just chatting over there. All right. Well, so then should we dig in? CCW, weapons light versus handheld. This one again. Do we do it like good idea, bad idea, and go across and say who's for what, or what are we doing?
Yeah, I think we should do it that way.
Since it says versus, weapons light versus handheld. I don't know, Bob.
I go handheld.
Dano?
Whichever you have, as long as you've got light.
Smeggy?
For CCW, I'm gonna say handheld, but I also agree. I don't like the versus thing because you should have both if possible.
Yep, and that's my answer, both. So.
Pretend like you got to pick one though. Come on, play the game.
I guess if you had to pick one, obviously the handheld, because not every gun's gonna have your stuff on there. But you should be making a purchase decision that doesn't prevent you from utilizing technology that'll give you an advantage.
No,
In other
no.
words, don't buy a gun that doesn't have
No.
an extended rail.
No.
To play
Well-
devil's advocate on that issue, if you have it separate, now it's also more likely to be forgotten or separated versus if you have your firearm, you have it all. You're guaranteed to have light because it's attached to the weapon.
Well, here's what I found. You get people that are like, oh, I think handheld lights are the way to go, blah, blah, blah. And then they don't put anything on their pistol. It's got a wicked echo. And then they can find holsters, and they can always fiddle with holsters and stuff because they don't have any light issues to deal with. Then, so they're carrying this light in their pocket, and they got some kind of cool clip on it or some kind of cool pouch for it or something. And then every time somebody's like, hey, can you see this? What's going on over here? I can't find this thing that fell on the carpet. What are they doing? They're grabbing their light and they're using it as a task light. And you can deny it if you want, but I've seen y'all doing it. And then time comes when you need that thing to save the life of you or others. And what's Murphy's Law going to do? Good luck having light battery power. So what I like about weapons lights is they're just sitting there holding their power until you need them in your holster. They're always there, like Dano said, when you need it.
Yeah, you're not using it to look at the address on the side of a house. You're not using it for normal things.
Never, exactly. The worst thing that can happen is that you got a holster that pinches a remote switch or something, or pinches your switches so that they toggle on or something. But most of the time, they're going to heat up, and you're going to know that real quick.
Okay. If John Browning had wanted a light on his guns, he would have designed one to carry one. That he didn't just goes to show that you don't need one. It doesn't belong on a gun. It adds extra weight. It adds extra bulk, and it's superfluous. You can carry a flashlight either on your belt or in your pocket that will do the same thing. Plus, it separates. You don't have this nice target light that's right at the center of your mass because you're in your stance. So yeah, I think it's silly.
Okay,
Well,
so
That's
you
a
carry
ridiculous
light?
answer.
that's a fallacy. I've got video somewhere. This was in the days of like the digital cameras that could do a little bit of video, like video clips, 30 seconds or something. And I was filming this through night vision, through NVS 14s at a Steve Fisher class when he was still MDFI in Tucson. And it was a night handgun night, whatever he calls it. And one of that subject came up. Well, blah, blah, blah. If you hold your light, because one of the ways that you'll hold your handheld light when you're shooting is one of the techniques is to hold it in your hand as if it was ice pick or something. So you've got it in your fist, but the light end is emitting out the bottom of your fist, right? And then you put your fist basically up by your jaw so that it's easy to locate. And now it's looking out. Basically, your light is coming out from like your chin over the sights of the gun and then to the target. And the shadow that's thrown out is down and to the right. So typically that's not going to obscure your target too much, and you can see your rear sights. So anyway, somebody was saying something about, oh, that makes you a target. And they're going to shoot at your light and shoot you in the face. So what Steve did is he took Surefire, one of his Surefire, $100-something flashlights, probably an E2D, and stuck it in the cardboard target. Just jammed it in there, so in one of the bullet holes, so that it's now pointed back at the shooter. And then we had that thing on, and everybody came up and tried like they wanted to, they could, and they were welcome to, and they were encouraged to shoot the light. Nobody shoots the light. That's a freaking 1-inch dot, and you can shoot towards it, I guess. But to suggest that in a gunfight somebody's going to see that light, take perfect aim, and now hit it because they were aiming at your light.
Here's my question though: how many rounds impacted within inches of that light?
Some.
But that's going to happen either way then. I mean, I guess is Bob talking about holding your flashlight up over your head like the old school FBI training or whatever from a million years ago?
Yep. You betcha.
So you think people are going to shoot your offhand instead of shooting you? I don't think so. I think they'll still be shooting your general direction.
I'm going to shoot at your muzzle flashes, but by the time they see a muzzle flash out, the last thing they
please. Okay, so here's a question, Bob. I don't know if you've heard this one before. Do you think that FBI technique, holding your arm up in the air, was designed so that you'd move the illuminated target up away from your vitals?
No, I think it was just a way that you could light your gun, and it just works really well. And it gives you a little more reach. I mean, the higher a light is, the better your spread. When you get to the ground level where people are lying down, maybe an ambush.
From what I've heard, it comes from the days of literally lanterns, and just everybody would hold that fucking lantern up there, and then they started holding their big ass flashlights up there because they already held their lanterns up there for some reason. Bob said it illuminated the whole area.
Nobody's used a lantern since the 1880s.
The spill that you're referring to comes from distance, not height.
And height equals what, Dano? Height
is the same distance, whether it's 5 feet off the ground or 7 feet.
Bob's right. Bob's right. Go outside at night and hold the flashlight up over your head, pointed in the direction you're going, and you're going to see everything. The peripheral light of the flashlight's going to light up your whole path compared to when you got it in front of you, where you only see the beam and stuff. So you're going to get a much. It's definitely effective to hold it up there. It's just not as effective as if you hold it right by your chin. And then some people would say it's not as effective if you have it out near the muzzle.
Right, and that's one of the things that was a comment I saw was that you might need to have one hand free. So that's where having the light on the gun, you can click that on, and then now you're using your left hand to grab your kid or do whatever you got to do, carry something or whatever, and you got the light in the gun. Whereas, although I guess you can do that where you like the cigar hold where you put the like if you had a other flashlight, you put it between your two fingers, kind of pointing out or whatever. I guess that is a possibility. You still have a free hand.
Yeah,
but
you stick it in your teeth.
And the other aspect is, do you shoot better with one hand or two hands? And to follow on to that is, do you practice shooting one-handed most of the time then?
That's what you're advocating. Quite often. I practice one-handed with either hand. I mean, that's just common sense.
Yeah, and what you don't practice, and what's more vital, is what Dano talked about and Smeggy alluded to, is that when it's nighttime and it's dark out, and you're having a flashlight in your one hand because you refuse to put a flashlight on your firearm, a weapons light on your gun. Now you've got that light in the illumination in your left hand. It's time for a magazine change or manipulation or clearing a malfunction or being on a cell phone or doing any number of things you need your other hand for. How often, Bob, have you trained to put that flashlight in your armpit, in your crotch, underneath your chin, like you're saying, in a place that you can go to, and then do your magazine, deal with your malfunction, and then go back to the light and pull it out? If you're going to say that you can do that out of reflex, I'll challenge you to go to any night course where an instructor worth their shit is going to say the same thing to the students, and then they're going to watch the students fumble around because it's impossible. It's like patting your head and rubbing your belly. It's okay. You have those muscle.
But let's take that same scenario and go, you've got your weapon light. Now, how are you going to clear a malfunction when you've got to point the gun at the malfunction that's in the gun? So, like, your weapon lights are so limited. Like they are for one thing.
You don't have to see your gun to clear a malfunction.
Clear a malfunction. You're crippling yourself if you need light to clear a malfunction. What if you get sweat in your eyes or you're shot in the forehead and you're bleeding into your eyes?
Then what's the point about worrying about whether your light's in your hand? You can stick it.
The point is, you do not have the dexterity and the wits about you in a gunfight to be putting that thing in your armpit and then not lifting your arm up so that when you lift your arm up, your armpit opens and your flashlight goes
in your mouth.
That's bullshit. And if you can blow it off so easily, it shows that you haven't put much thought into it. I've only been to a few classes where there's night classes where people are had the bravado saying, "Oh, I can deal with this," and then you watch them bumble around.
That sounds like a class I heard of called Training by Hollywood, and that's exactly where everything you're saying is coming from.
No, it isn't, man. It's practical stuff. I'm out with a flashlight. I've had to go out and like and deal with. and deal with varmints that are fighting with dogs and stuff, so that you're out there. You have to make sure your target, so you don't kill your
technique.
So you don't kill your neighbor's dog or your own dog.
I can keep talking as well, Bob. Where did you get it from that you consider this a valid technique?
I've done it in real world situations where I'm not shooting another person, but I'm having to deal with a animal and multiple targets, some of which I want to shoot, some of which I don't. Like I've had to do this since I was a kid. It's like,
okay, but that's still one data point. That's not scientific in any way, shape, or form.
It's what I know to do, and you know, I can.
No, it's not what you know how to do. That doesn't mean it's
right. I've read or I've taken a training course, so I'm better at it, and this is a better technique. And I'm going, well, you know what? That's not the one I use, and the one I use I know works, and I've actually used it. So, you know.
So you blow off the fact that I've seen dozens of people not be able to do what you just said you can do.
Yeah.
So I don't need to go to a training class to know what I can do. I go to a training class also to know what 12 other people are able to do or not. Where those people.
And that's a good point. That's a good point. And like I say, I mean, but I have to go on what I know.
Well, so here's the thing, Bob. So like you might be okay at doing that, but using a weapons light, we just explained all of the advantages as far as the manipulation and stuff. So if you're already good at doing it while messing with the flashlight, imagine how much better you'll be when you don't have to worry about that. It's kind of like the whole thing, like a grip. Like you can use a teacup grip, like it works, but it's better if you use a good two-handed grip because that's just physics, right? You got more surface area and more, you know, whatever, more control of the gun.
It still
so
goes.
Yeah, something might work, but there's other things that might work better.
And that's the whole point, is it might. So I have to retrain and then carry two lights. And plus it's going to bulk out my gun, make it heavier, make it more clumsy. I prefer not to. You know, and I know that I can.
All those times where I was like, oh no, Bob, you go ahead. I have to wait here with my weapons light. Or like, oh,
I got to stop and take a break. I'm tired.
Yeah, I need to rest. I'll be waiting here, Bob, because of the weapons light.
Oh yeah, you know, hey, some people are.
And I mean, if you want to go by weight, a weapons light is more likely to be less in weight than a handheld light.
But do you want to be pointing your handgun at something when you just want to identify it? Okay, just
that's where the framework of this question is kind of messed up.
Yeah. No, Bob is asking a question that is honest, but it is based in never experiencing working with a weapons light. It's ridiculous to suggest you need to point your muzzle of your firearm at everything you want to look at. You're going to tell me that every time you go out with a flashlight, wherever your eyes are focused, you're constantly moving the focus of your flashlight to that point? It's ridiculous. Just as you said before, holding the flashlight above and to the side of your head is going to illuminate the whole area. You fucking turn on a weapons light, point it at the ground, and it's illuminating everything you need to see. If you need to see a little bit closer to something, you can rise it towards, nowhere near pointing at, and still illuminate everything. Like Dano said, it's in your holster and it's got fresh batteries. So your 500 watt or whatever lumen weapons light is flooding the area.
Well, I mean, that's a good point, but again, it's like I say, it's what you're comfortable with, what you're used to, and what works for you. And that's why I say, in my opinion, I prefer a handheld light over a weapons light.
Yeah,
Plus, God never designed a gun that had a weapons light.
Are you open to new information, or are you not?
Well, I am, but only if it's useful to me. If it's not useful to me, then it's, you know, it just fills up the hard drive and I don't have room.
I mean, I say that because, you know, you and I are not that far apart in age, and I go to various things knowing that there will some things that I will pick up on that will take me forward a lot, and there are some things that I may not take forward.
Well, Dan,
but I have to keep an open mind and use what's, rather than just my gut feeling and what I feel about something, I feel it's right or I feel it would work, go with what is shown to be scientifically sound, that is repeatable through other users, through other people that have done that exercise, or it's happened out on the streets with officers.
Yeah,
It's
no, I'm
happened
not
numerous times. Rather
I'm
than
not
one
as
data.
smart as you, and most police officers don't have weapon lights, actually.
That's a good question. I think you're probably right. So I think we could, I don't know if we're going to move on, but I think we could talk about Bob's particular situation. You're in a mobile residence that basically has because of its nature, there's access from all directions from, foreigners or other people. So you've got the one egress, period. You got the one door, and now you got a dog, and you got, unknown number of variables driving around enjoying your time in America where you can carry. So are you going to require that you carry a cell phone, a separate flashlight, and your pistol? Obviously your pistol is going to be probably holstered, but now if something, worst of all possible situations, something happens where you need that pistol to be drawn, maybe just to be brandished. If you live in a state like Arizona, where brandishing is perfectly legal to de-escalate a situation, and now you've eliminated, unless you got a third arm that we don't know about, you've got a dilemma. You're going to carry that flashlight in the gun, the cell phone in the gun, what? So that's why, having a nightstand gun, your particular situation, how it used to be with your chair and your shelf there, I'd say a Glock 34 with the freaking weapons light underneath of it and a DG switch, so that you can operate, the switch to the light itself is through your shooting grip on the gun, not your trigger finger or any kind of manipulation of your other hand. And now you can bump or stay constant depending on how you grip or pulse the light there. And you could jump out the door with the flashlight in your pocket like you always got, that 34 in your waist, and then your cell phone. And I think that'd be much more effective than not having it on there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if you're talking like not a carry gun, but an at-home nightstand gun, or just something you keep near you for if you've got to come out of your place of residence and maybe you don't have lighting all over your yard and stuff, so that it is going to be dark out there, especially moonless nights. Yeah, I could see that being useful. And yeah, full-size Glock with a weapons light, sure. 10 mil, of course.
I find it interesting that he said a G34, which is a 9mm.
Is it? Oh.
Bob's a sickly old man. I don't want his arthritis to get hurt or brittle bones to break.
You know what? I like recoil. I think it's fun. That's why I like the 10mm. Although I wish they made it 12. Maybe a 13.
Concealed carry or defending your house is not about fun. I mean,
no,
I like fun. That's fine. You get a gun to take to the range or whatever and have fun. That's fine. That's certainly legit. But you don't get a gun for self-defense for fun.
No, but I like shooting large caliber guns, and I think, if you've got to use one, use the biggest one that you can, because let's just end the situation. That's the main point of any self-defense situation.
Well,
is if you have to use your gun, you want to fire, and that ends the situation. You don't want to be in a...
I'm not getting at this point taking another topic, so let's get it back to lights.
I'm gonna throw something out there and maybe end it. So we've got a good one from Chesney on the YouTube side. What if you have a weapons mounted light on your home defense gun if you have small children? So I guess the implication there is that, again, you're sweeping that light all around because you think of it as a flashlight. It's an illumination thing. Yeah, it's meant to illuminate a target, but like I say, you can have it on, pointed at the ground, and be surprised. So what I'm going to suggest is either treat your good flashlight, if you have a flashlight that can keep up with the weapons light. Most weapons lights nowadays are like 500+ lumens, 300 to 500 or more lumens, and I never am going to side with that wimpy, oh, if you get too many lumens, then you're going to flash yourself and you won't be able to see. That's ridiculous. Get as many lumens as you can and treat it like a weapons light. Either get a blue gun or a BB gun. Just hold your finger like a gun, and unless you're in California, in which case I don't think you can have all your fingers attached when you point it like a gun. But anyway, walk around like it's a weapons light, triggering it at the ground without it muzzling anything other than the floor where it would be safely in a safe direction, and see if I'm crazy and give us some feedback. Because in my experience, in my limited experience with homes, you can turn on a 300 to 500 lumen light and see anything you want, and you're not sun blind where you fall backwards and have to cry.
Well, it's pointed at the ground, and that's a good point. I'm not disagreeing that maybe on a, like, I mean, I have a weapons light for my.
Hold on, let me just finish up with, if we're talking about specifically kids in an apartment situation where you're on the top floor, then do the alternate and do it at the high ready or some sort of a, you know, muzzle up type of situation. Now you don't have to worry about muzzle and kids, and you get the same bounce from those lumens. Okay, Bob.
No, I'm just saying I was agreeing that's like I say, I have a weapons light for my personal defense rifle, and I can kind of get away with having a rifle even though I live in a trailer when I'm out here at my sister's place because it's the country. But
one thing that we have not discussed at all.
For that home gun, yes, I don't have a problem with a weapons light on it because it's not something you're going to carry. And I always carry a flashlight anyway, so, you know, and, you know, I use my flashlight all the time, so I know the batteries are always good.
One thing that we have not directly addressed, and we've indirectly discussed it, and that's spill versus beam, the two attributes of a light. And like when G. Webbs is talking about putting it at the ground, he's talking about putting the beam at the ground, but to use the spill of the light to identify children, spouse, with bad guy,
moving the angle of the gun, just that you're without moving the angle of the gun while it's still pointed down.
Right.
Right. But you're using the spill, the aspect of the spill. You don't put the beam directly at the target until it's already identified. But there's two different aspects of a light, and you have to use both aspects correctly.
And it does actually, in a sense, like if you spot the target, the suspect, the aggressor, whatever, in the spill, then as soon as you bring your firearm up, they not only know that you've now got a weapon on them, but they're partially blinded by, like, say, these high intensity lights that we have now. That is going to, you know, basically not only let them know that they've been spotted, we've seen them, we have now, well, maybe they don't know we've got them targeted, but they know that they are, you know, in our view, and that could just de-escalate the situation right there. So good, you know. And like I say, I'm not saying anything. I believe in a weapons light for a home defense gun. I don't believe in it for a carry gun. And I've already mentioned my reasons and everything. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think sounds like problem solved. We figured it out.
Fantastic. A good closing point then. This is my third closing point. Bob is really getting at here. Well, I think what Bob is really getting at here is that his full-size metal guns are too damn heavy. So yeah, if he's complaining about the weight of the light, then maybe your gun is too heavy.
Yeah. Because that 3 ounces is really heavy.
Now let's quickly move along so he doesn't have a chance to even answer to that.
Yep, sounds like a plan.
That'll take us
So the next subject is
gun stuff, and we'll be talking about wills. Another topic that's Bob's going to be ready for.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying he's just the oldest guy here, and he's got children. So before we
everything to the dog,
that's probably a good idea. Everything to a cat, because then cats are dicks about it. So before we do, we always feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is the place we built a while back. It's a community. It's focused on firearms. We built it. We own it. It's a fun place to hang out, and it's pretty much gun conversation all the time. And one of the reasons it is that way is because of the member we're featuring today, Pink Panther, and one of the guys that helps keep the place going. He's gone to SHOT Show. He's gone to NRA Show more than once. So he's gone to many of the events as Gun Channels. So definitely one of the people that one of the gears that keeps the place moving. And he's been absent for a while. I hope everything's doing okay. But thanks to Knives for filling in for him. But otherwise, today we're talking about Pink. And again, Gun Channels would not be the place it is today without Pink, for sure.
Yeah,
He's
definitely.
done a valuable service doing the evening chat lobbies for a very long time. So that's a great effort and great follow through on his part.
Something that we don't do enough of, and I'm going to try to do it right now, is normally I could just jump over the lobby and grab a link to one of his channel. But what's his? Do you guys have his YouTube channel, or somebody grab Pink's YouTube channel? And let's encourage everybody to go over to the Pink Lobby Chat channel and subscribe to it.
Oh, heck yeah. And I mean, Pink is one of the nicest guys I ever met, too. Plus, he likes, you know, muscle cars, so he's got to be a good guy.
Okay, here's the link to the channel.
Oh, you got it already. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was already linked to, or subbed to him.
Oh, man, and Pink's going to love my van because all the accent curtains in it and everything are pink.
But yeah, I just wanted to say some kind words on Pink, is that I've hung out with him at 2 NRA shows now. This most recent year and then last year. And you know, the first time I hung out with him and, you know, a couple of the other people and whatnot. And cool dude, you know, we wandered around the show together. We split up, did our own thing, came back together, went to dinner, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, awesome guy. And then this most recent time ended up, you know, basically sleeping in the same apartment as him with a couple other guys. And other than the fact that he snores, like, he's all right. Cool guy.
Yeah, I heard about his
If
snoring.
you want to subscribe, the name of his channel is Pink's Space Lobby Room. One word.
Yeah,
So
and
Pink's Space Lobby Room, all one word.
yeah, although I must say he didn't send me all the videos he took of me at SHOT Show, so I'm kind of, you know.
So he does have a separate channel,
So
which
yeah,
is his non-lobby stuff.
so I just put a link in the description of the video. We also dropped a link in the chats on both the YouTube and the gun channel side. So again, thanks everybody. He had 295 a minute ago, and we'll see what he's got now. 297. So thanks to the 2 people that subbed. But if anybody else hasn't subbed, please consider it. He's a good guy, and just a little help for his YouTube. Yep. Right, sure. We'll move along to gun stuff and wills.
Oh yeah, like I said, I put all mine. I left them to the dog, and then from the dog, they go to like, you know, closest living relative to be my sister, I guess. And then she can spread them out to the kids if she thinks they deserve it.
All right. Well, so now getting into Bob's creepy family life. Well, let's
Not
get
necessarily personal stuff, but yeah, I think at a general level,
I think it's
definitely that's the kind of stuff that, you know, you should, especially when guns are related, like you should have a will anyways, right? Because it's nothing sadder in my opinion than seeing family members like fight over crap after someone passed away. I don't know what it is about like money or stuff and that time that everyone's all stressed out anyways, they're all sad or whatever. But I have seen some crazy fights over like stupid stuff. So just spell it out. That way no one's getting hurt feelings or whatever. So-and-so gets the hunting rifle. So-and-so gets this. So-and-so gets that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think was worth mentioning, let's say you don't feel like leaving it to anyone. Maybe your family all sucks or whatever. I know like the NRA and stuff, you can donate your stuff to them. You can put them in your will, and then it either, I don't know if it goes to the museum or if they like sell the crap or what, but
it doesn't get sold. It goes to the museum. We've been down in the archives where they go, and they take good care of them, and they appreciate them, and they get rotated up if, you know, it's a crazy awesome thing or something for a specific exhibit that they're gonna be putting up there. But you never know. I've seen some exhibits on movie guns. I've seen exhibits on Winchesters. I've seen exhibits on what were they? Like BB guns and like kids guns and toy guns kind of things, youth guns, I guess. So you never know. You know, Grandpa's collection might actually be worthwhile for you know, that missing piece for a complete collection at some place like the NRA. J.M. Davis Firearms Museum, I believe, accepts donations as well. And there's a whole list of firearms museums. We'll be rebuilding a website that has links to all of them, but there's a few out there. If you do a Google search, you'll find lots of them. You might find one in your area that could benefit a lot with boost of a private collection.
Yeah, that's a really good point to bring up, you guys. Thanks for doing that. Museums, like especially if if you're one of those people whose family's not interested in guns or anything like that, great place to send them. At least they're not going to just end up getting sold to whoever, right? You know that they're going to go somewhere that they're going to care about them.
Unless you got like a kid that's keeping track of what you got and knows where the things come from and where they should go, that kind of thing. We talked about having a log or whatever, something for insurance purposes or appraisal kind of thing. And along with that, you can easily just leave a column or create a column over on the one side that is, who's interested in this, maybe for your own just notes. If you meet somebody at a gun show or something or out at the shoot and you have your gun out there that you really bring out and they're like, oh, no, don't sell that until you tell me. Get their contact info, put it in your spreadsheet, and then, worst case scenario, somebody's reading your spreadsheet, they can contact that person, and at least they know a buyer who's going to appreciate it. I personally have some things that are unique that I know other people who would appreciate the uniqueness of them, and I don't care about the cost so much. So I try to keep notes of stuff like that, like if this something, basically contact this person for this portion of the collection and let them deal with it. And then you can also just have a good friend, right? Or a couple of good friends, and say, to your loved ones in some kind of a document, like, take these things and take them to these people and they'll do right. They'll very prearranged, like they'll make sure everything, they'll take care of it all. I see that happen.
That's a good point.
I think I'm going to put in my will, I want all my guns taken to a gun buyback, because I think those are like the safest things to do.
Yeah, I'll bet you are.
One thing, it's a perspective.
Mickey's melting.
Perspective. No, I'm stuttering. Perspective. I'd like to pass along from. I've heard from every trainer that I've gone to so far, which is not a lot. It's only just under a handful, but they've all said it in different ways. Is part of the responsibility of deciding to carry to your family and loved ones is, if you're going to take on that additional responsibility, is also to take away the work if you should pass on, whether it's by natural causes or by other causes. So you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for the people that you leave behind and care about.
And that's a good point, because we never know when it's going to hit. Like, even somebody as young as Smeggy can just, like, stroke out or, have massive brain tumor or something, and he's not even going to see it coming, right? Let alone somebody like Dano. Although, he's gotten so hard now, I think he could probably take death.
Well, the instructors are making as part of, the additional responsibility of concealed carry. But I know you're semi-joking and semi-serious there, Bob. But yeah, anybody can be struck down by a health concern at any point in their life. And I know a few people here on gun channels that have had health issues. So I certainly wish them the best. And it's not necessarily when you're elderly do these bad things happen. So so consider it. Just because you're 30 doesn't mean it can't happen. Just because you're 20 doesn't mean it can't happen. You get T-boned by some drunk.
And say that idea from G-Webs about having the list and then having the contact info or whatever, like, that's something. All you got to do is be like, hey, just so you guys know, like, in my gun room or whatever, like, look for this folder and it's got a list of things, and there you go. Like, if something comes up, so it doesn't even have to be like officially legal, unless you really think people are going to fight over your stuff and you don't want all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, if I go early, my dad would probably enjoy the guns, and I'm pretty sure he'd give a couple to my buddy, because he knows that he would want some. But I've never specifically said, like, oh, I know he really wants my AK or he really wants this, like,
thanks, buddy.
Whatever. So
thanks, buddy.
Well, unfortunately, let's see. If I had a few AKs, I'd give you one, but this dude doesn't even have an AK. So if I could be the one to give him his first AK by me dying, like, that would be cool.
I told you he's talking about me.
I'm certainly not talking about you, Bob.
That's all right.
I'm actually talking about a real life buddy. I do have one.
All right. Well, I have got proof that there are people in the chat, but nobody's really talking about this topic. So I'm going to say we blew off that first one to blow out our schedule. Why don't we just say this one's obviously an interesting topic. We can continue to talk about it anytime. There's lots to talk about it, unless you guys said something else specifically. Just to keep the time frame going. Let's keep moving.
No, I'm good. Let's move on.
Our perception of what's going on in the chat to gauge how much interest there is.
They may have just ran off to all go right wills.
Maybe we could talk about, do you use boilerplate stuff? Do you go to an attorney? Do you go to a gun attorney? So,
and by the way, just so you guys know, it's Smeggie, SMEGGIE 42. So when you're filling it out, like there's no Y, it's IE.
But
Right.
there are some gun aspects of concealed carry or holding or defending your house that are not sexy and are not necessarily thrilling to talk about, but need to be mentioned.
oh yeah, and things that people overlook that can be, a big time saver, convenience for whoever you leave behind.
Yeah, no, you helped me out. I'm gonna be doing mine probably later tonight. And it's easy because I don't have I can easily do that.
Wait a minute,
Just add to the list.
we talked Smeggy into doing a spreadsheet. We should get some kind of award for this.
Well, basically
There you
adding
go.
a column to the spreadsheet because I already have the spreadsheet.
All right.
All right, so let's head on. I mean, we can redo this though, because I got a couple things on video wheels and shit to talk about. But let's move on with the show and come back to this at some future date.
So what about
Okay,
this?
well, what about that?
What? After the second segment of the show? What a surprise!
How doesn't he have a real
It's never after the second segment of the show.
Dano, I didn't even have my windbreaker on. I could have died.
I surprised everybody. Wow, I can't believe it. Yes, it's time for the Tactical Pop Quiz. So those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on Gun Channels, perch your cursor down in the text box, limber up your fingers, and get ready to go. Smeggy, I know I caught you short, but are you able to assist today?
He's always
Yes, I am. First off, Bob, I'm not
Okay,
short.
well, I wasn't sure if you were on
And
the phone or
yes,
not
I
today.
have seen the answer, and you did not catch me off guard at all. Just like everyone else listening is not caught off guard.
Oh, I sense a little something, a nugget there that I'm going to pursue later on in the show. All right. All right, I will read the question twice. I do want the full name in the answer, all in one line. The question
Completely
is as
full, all three
follows.
full? Is that what you mean by
Well,
full?
first
All
and
three?
last, at least. At
Oh,
least first and last.
All right. Okay.
right.
Bonus points for middle
John
name or
Moses
whatever.
Brown called this man the world's greatest gun designer. So what was his name? John Moses Brown called this man the world's greatest gun designer. So what was his name?
Is that Browning?
Yeah, I think he means Browning, but Dano.
Yes, Browning.
It's always like slacking off, just cutting that little bit off the name, and
It's a time saver. On
Yeah.
a tight schedule.
Mr. Efficiency now. He's so hard.
His
Huh.
dad is not correct. His dad is not correct. Sam Colt is not correct. That was almost simultaneous on both sides.
Bill Ruger? No. There you go.
We have an answer. We have an answer. You two, the site got it.
Yeah, Arctic's got it.
Arctic got it. Congratulations, Arctic.
No,
You
I
are
think
Arctic.
Clay got it first, didn't he?
Who?
I thought it was Clay. No, was it Arctic?
Yeah,
Nope.
no, Clay doesn't have the answer.
Oh,
Please
okay.
Okay. Congratulations to Arctic.
My
Here's
mistake.
our technical pop quiz winner for today. Go ahead and head on over to dailygunshow.com/pop quiz. Fill out the form so we can keep track of who's number one, who's number two, who's number three. And congratulations. You are our tactical pop quiz winner.
And
Right.
that made you.
Oh my goodness. Hope you have your will ready. I just wanted to at least say that the correct answer was John Douglas Pedersen. I don't think we
Yes,
ever
thank
said
you.
that.
I missed that part. I'll let you two arm wrestle over who gets to do the next part.
I'm gonna do it because I'm better than Bob. So Arctic, by being a hair faster than Cycle Camp and including the third name and not just the two names, that makes you the tactical hot shot of the day.
I don't even think I could arm wrestle Smeggy. His arms are so long. Like, I couldn't even reach his hand and have my elbow on the table.
I'll arm wrestle you from here.
Yeah, just about.
His arm comes down out of the clouds. All right, well, so that was the completely surprise pop quiz, and now we'll go into the gun of the day, which surprisingly is
the Penderson gun.
Say Penderson, and you're giving Dano shit about Browning?
Penderson rifle. Pedersen. Tomato. Pedersen rifle.
No, not tomato.
And you know, the neat thing was, like it competed against the Garand. It competed against the Garand, which was, as we all know, a Canadian-designed rifle by a Canadian. I think the reason it didn't win, because they both competed in a weird caliber. They weren't in 30-06 when they competed. They both used 10-round end block clips. And the Pedersen rifle, I think why it lost was it used it had to have a lubricated bullet. Now, genius he was, came up with a way to put a hard wax lubricant on it. So they didn't have the problems with the oil lubricant, you know, picking up dirt and shit. But, you know, the Armory's guys still didn't like it.
Yeah, that's just an extra step or an extra thing to worry about. That,
yeah,
you know.
And it was a 270 though, like 272, 276, something like that. But it was moving, right? It was a 125 grain bullet at 2,700 feet per second. Like, you think of the energy that thing would have, plus how flat it would shoot. Why they didn't go to that caliber, I don't know, other than maybe it was because of the lubrication issue. But yeah, it was an amazing rifle. It used a toggle lock design, almost like a Luger, except, you know, stepped up to handle rifle chamber pressures. It was a really neat rifle. I've watched quite a few videos of it being fired and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't really know why it didn't win, or, you know, I guess it didn't win because it wasn't as good a design. A damn good design. I would have thought it still would have, you know, been built. I think they built a couple of hundred of them. But yeah, really neat rifle. Very interesting mechanism and interesting caliber. So yeah, I definitely think this is a cool gun of the day. Plus, it fits in with the question.
Yeah, it's almost like we planned some of this stuff.
Almost.
So, we do try to do a gun of the day. So thanks, Bob, for making that interesting for everybody. And I want to jump over and say thanks to CloverTac for giving us the feedback. It looks like the sign-up issue is fixed on Gun Channels. So anybody that's been chomping at the bit to join Gun Channels, feel free. There's no cost, of course. If you do want to support the place, there's some subscriptions, but there's no obligation or anything. Check them out if you like.
Appreciate it if you enjoy what you see.
Sure. And then,
yeah, you should remember, I mean, if you do contribute just like, you know, a couple of bucks or, you know, a couple of bucks a month or something, it really does help the show and helps the whole Gun Channels keep running without it being a real burden on some of us. So,
not a burden on anybody. So thanks for the feedback, though. It's good to know. We've been multitasking, so that's something that I've been going back and forth, bouncing emails, and glad to hear that it's working. All right, so we can move along then to a gun shop of the day, and I was in the middle of figuring out which gun shop to use, and I can't figure out how stupid Gmail to open up these stupid files that are on some shared Google Drive. So let's just wing another gun shop. I was trying to pull one out of our email, but I'm gonna have to spend a little bit more time than 2 seconds doing that. So anybody got one off the top of their head?
Um, well, not anyone that we haven't done a couple times. So.
All right, great. So we're going to do this one in, I think it's called Dan's Ammo. I think Bob blew right past it. It was in New Mexico. Bob and I were heading out of Tucson to go to a gun show that ended up not being there in some little town in New Mexico. I forget, Amagardo or something. And on the way there, I think you stopped for gas, or you went ahead first, and I was going to get gas and catch up with you, and then you stopped for gas, and I was hauling ass looking for you, and I think I passed you anyway. We kind of got lost from each other going down, I don't know, a 4-hour stretch of road, so it wasn't a big deal. We were just trying to find a place to rendezvous and whatever. So I think that you ended up slingshotting past me there and didn't stop at that one, right? Anyway, it was I think it was called Dan's Ammo, nice little shop, and they were just about to move their physical location. And what I thought was neat about that shop is just a little shop in the middle of New Mexico, and he had dozens of Rufus rounds. Like somebody had them and sold them to the shop, and they just kept them because it was so cool. Rufus rounds are those ones with a little bit of RDX or whatever explosive in them, so that they have the same impact or the same energy as the like 20 millimeters. So they give a 50 BMG a little extra kick by adding a little explosive up front. And those are just pretty cool. They're the highest level of explosive you can own without a license, because they're bullets and they didn't want to make bullets illegal, I guess. And they're kind of cool. So anyway, that was kind of neat to see a shop like that. They had a little bit of surplus stuff, if I remember right. It was Air Force surplus, and that's kind of neat. Whenever it's outside of a base or a fort, you can always find the coolest real surplus. There wasn't a lot of it, but there was a bit. And then they had a lot of reloading stuff, and I believe at the time it was sort of sparse. It wasn't common to see so much powders and stuff out. Anyway, interesting shop. Oh, they also, I think the reason they had so much powders, they also reloaded. So they were remanufacturing their own brand of all different kinds of calibers and types.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
See, I think that's a great idea for a shop, especially if it's one where they kind of have some slow time. There's a range near me that sells their own stuff, and they have an extra employee that sits there and reloads, and then when they get busy, they call them up to the register or help customers or whatever, and then when they're kind of slow, you go back into the reloading room and crank stuff out. So I think that's a cool feature for a shop to have.
Yeah, and actually, had one of these. They had the room up front, so it was like basically like a house that expanded into a business kind of thing, where they gutted the interior walls, right? So they had left like the kind of walls in place for what would have been probably like the big living room or big family room or something, and that was the reloading room, and that was sort of at the front of the building. And what they had is those robots. So they had those big Dillons, right? The big blue Dillons, and then everything was automated. Then they just had the robot pulling the levers. So it was more like they just left the doors open and looked in there to monitor it. They didn't even have to.
And they just got to fill up the hoppers or whatever when they start getting low.
Yeah, exactly. And they probably had some sort of alerts or some sort of routine. So it seemed like it was a pretty decent production facility.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that. I don't know how the hell I missed it, but yeah.
Because you were trying to. It was that weird, like not quite a clover leaf. You had to like go from one highway to the other, and there wasn't like just an exit. You had to like cut into town. And I don't know if you did or not. But anyway, we're going to try to feature a gun shop every single day. There's all kinds of good news on the horizon, and stay tuned to the show. One of the reasons Bob and I started the show, more than a year ago now, was so that we could feature a shop every day. Bob and I were driving around with the Gun Show Loophole Tour last year with the camper and the cop car, and checking out gun shops all over, and it's cool. It's really fun, and we started doing this show so that we could feature those shops and to do some of the other things like the pop quiz and the daily quizzes or the tactical quizzes, and talking about behind the scenes stuff, all the stuff we talk about. But anyhow, looks like the future is going to be bright for seeing new shops every single day, and getting some interviews with shop owners along the way would be great. Plenty of new pictures, and part of that will be building up the gun shop review. I think I'm going to put it up on Gun Shop Guide. I don't know. On one of my websites, I'll be rebuilding our gun shop tour stuff, so that when we talk about a show like this, you'll be able to go check out our pictures and then have all the various links to their Facebook or their Twitter or their Instagram or whatever it is that they do, or their website. And then be as productive as possible for those shops and as interesting as we can for our audience out there. So yeah, stay tuned. Big stuff coming.
Yep.
Let's see. So besides that, we've got. Is there any gun history today? I should look at my phone here. I keep my gun history in my phone.
Yes. Well, you should do that.
Do we want to do this other one again? Online training? Or did
No,
somebody
we don't.
No, because that would display the amount of planning that has happened.
All right. So, oh, look at this. In 1880, France annexes Tahiti. Sons of bitches. They just took it. An earthquake in 1925 ravaged Santa Barbara. What's the difference between ravaging and savaging?
I don't know.
I could only take a guess.
1970, U.S. troops pull out of Cambodia. All right, nothing all that interesting on the gun sides, I guess, today. So if we're not doing that, do we want to do another topic, or do we want to just wrap it? How do we want to do this? I guess we need a gun movie, and I just closed the emails. So if anybody has a gun movie out there, we've been doing this week. You throw out the gun movie, and we talk about it. But for you guys, the hosts here, are we going to do something instead of online training, or are we going to just abbreviate the show and keep moving?
Training with a weapons light.
Actually, asking about gun movies, we do have an email from Psycho Camp with a series of movies.
Oh, okay. Well, let me double check because we just asked for them. Nothing on Gun Channel side, and nothing.
I'll copy and paste it inside here so you can have a quick peek and see what you want to pick from the.
Is the Bismarck a movie? Okay, Sync the Bismarck. Dano waited too long to copy and paste that, so we're going to go with Psycho Camp Sync the Bismarck.
That's the last time I try to help the show.
Well, thanks, Dano, but you got to do it a lot faster next time. So, no, I just figure why not. We asked, and I didn't want to leave them hanging, right? So we're still not seeing. Oh, we see Blazing Saddles again on the left side, on the on the left side, on the Gun Channel side. The hell,
Do you think this is the 1960s version or the 1996 version?
I don't know if I've either one of them. Yeah, there's a 1960, and you said there's another one?
Yeah, there's one from 96. The 1960s, a World War II story of the British Navy's effort to defeat Nazi Germany's most powerful warship.
Yeah, it wasn't that powerful warship, and they eventually sank it with biplanes.
Bunch of old actors I don't know.
It was
all the information I have on the thing, so it's a good old-fashioned Navy war movie.
The Bismarck was famous for having taken out the hood, which was a pretty famous World War I type British battle cruiser.
Sounds like a villain for the Batman or something.
Kinda.
Well, I'm going to do an unprecedented doubles movie of the day because none of us have seen Bismarck, it sounds like, and it's just giant Navy.
I have, but it was probably 10 years.
Nobody in this country on the panel has seen it. So I also saw Chesney put in Strategic Air Command with Jimmy Stewart, which is one of my all-time favorite movies of all time. So I'm sure y'all have not seen that one either, but that's why we can cram two of them in here. And this one doesn't have any guns at all, basically, so it's not even a gun movie, but it's an awesome movie. And if we're talking old movies, it is awesome. So it's what, the B-36?
Yeah, I've actually seen it. Yeah, it's pretty good. Jimmy Stewart did a lot of stuff for the Air Force. He was in the Air Force in World War II. He flew more than his required missions.
Okay, we're not talking about Jimmy Stewart. We're talking about the movie. The movie is about the freaking B-36, the giantest of all airplanes, the coolest of all airplanes, and it's only in one movie, and that's the movie. So it was made at the end of the war to carry, well, what do you call them?
To carry the nukes to Europe. take out the Nazis with nukes.
Yeah. Was it the B-36? No.
It was B-36, and he did a movie with the B.
One B-36.
7 Hustler, but that was more a documentary about them setting the world speed record across the country.
Oh yeah, it was a B-36. I just didn't see the jets on it. So it's so big that it's got 6 props pushing the thing, and then it's got 4 jets pulling the thing, right? 4 pulling and 6 pushing or something.
Yeah, no, the jets. No, it was 4 burning, 6 turning.
Oh, okay. So it was so big at the time. It was like pushing technology, pushing engineering. Like, we need to win the freaking war, make bigger stuff, and we don't know how to make it lighter. So put more engines on it. And it's cool as hell. It has a fighter plane that drops out of its belly, which is unprecedented cool of all airplanes when a little fighter jet drops out of your Bombay. And then
I think it was called the Goblin or the Javelin.
The Hobgoblin.
I saw it in
the
Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in Nebraska also? Thanks, because it's in Dayton.
There's also one in
Dayton.
Dayton, yes.
That's the one.
That one.
They
the
got both.
was a horrible aircraft, and it crashed on the only time they attempted to actually latch back onto the aircraft.
This is what happens when you live in a little tiny hate-filled country that has to the coolest thing that ever happened in an airplane.
The test pilot said it was a horrible aircraft.
Big deal. Big deal. The first prototype didn't work perfectly, so Bob the Canadian is going to scrap the whole thing. It's the coolest thing ever to drop a plane.
No, it's not. They used airships in between the wars, in between the First and Second World War. They used the Aircon, and there was another airship they had that had biplane fighters that would hang underneath.
Yes,
those
exactly.
worked. Those they could actually hook on, pull back up,
and they would help the plane move. Right? They would hook on and pull. Right?
No.
All right. Well, I thought they did, but anyway, here's the thing. Even though Bob hates technology and hates innovation, we got drones now. So imagine like 8 drones dropping out of a manned plane and having all those drones, and now you got pilots who cares where, and yeah, this is the coolest thing ever. So we can definitely take this back.
Yeah, that's cool. I bet they're doing it because the B-52 can carry something like 36 cruise missiles.
Yeah, imagine little drones we can take out. And once we get laser drones, come on, solar powered laser drones, come on. All right, so thanks for bringing up that movie. It's one of the best movies ever. It also, they crash in like the snow, so it's kind of neat to see Air Force kind of post-war survival type of let's just do it and then get right back in a plane and keep going. All right, thanks, Dano. All right, so
yeah, for sure.
You got to be careful because once we start talking about planes, we get heated discussions sometimes. So let us know and give us some feedback. Since more than likely some big news is going to be happening, and we will be taking the show on the road, literally. We're probably going to be hitting airplane museums. And do you want us to bore you with that stuff in here, or should we take that stuff to another channel? Because it's easy enough to start up another, like the van chats. We can start up airplane chats and talk about our.
Yeah.
So anyway, give us some feedback on that, or if you'd like to hear it in here, let us know. So I think there's going to be some airplane nerding happening in the future too.
I think there's an audience for it.
I don't care. I just want to. We're going to be there. Might as well nerd out. And I don't retain the stuff. That's my problem. I've got a couple of planes I like, the F-111. I don't know, a couple of other ones like the Corsairs, but I barely keep any of it. So I'm always fascinated when I hear about the stuff again. And when you stand at a specific or in a museum instead of front of a specific plane, that can be pretty neat too. When you're in front of the Enola Gay or something, or you're in front of I don't know, some record, speed record plane or something.
When you can touch them and smell them, because airplanes smell their own unique way.
We could have gone with that.
I don't mean that in a weird way. I mean it's the oil.
The non-weird way of smelling airplanes. We got it.
I mean, it's
way to go, Bob. I think you love airplanes a little too much.
Excuse me, I'm not from your country. I didn't see your policy on sniffing. Is there any policy on sniffing?
We're allowed sniff all we want.
We've got
How we
these
find
cords
stuff.
all over me. I can't get close enough to sniff the airplanes. Is it possible for me to go past the cords? Can I disregard these cords so I can sniff? Anyway.
Again, the nice thing about smells is they waft away from
Oh,
the aircraft.
Jesus. Bob brings his own special sniffing fan to like blow the fumes towards him.
A sniffing tube. He has like an old man listening tube.
Improvise with like a turkey baster. You're like, okay, this is going way off the
Yeah,
rails.
put it in Ziploc bags and save it for later.
Gone off the rails. I apologize.
I think I broke Smeggy.
You go over to Bob's house, like, hey man, you want to hit this? And you're like, oh no, thanks, dude. I don't do drugs. He's like, nah, it's a B-52.
They can smell different, right? It's the rubber. It's the. I'm telling you, man.
You got little scented candles all over the house.
He makes
Smeggy's smoking.
it killed him. Hopefully he made it well.
Oh my God, I've never heard
You
that.
guys could be living in my brain right now. You'd be laughing as hard as I am.
So he brings up a good point, though. What if we made candles out of all that extra cosmoline and then sold them as man cave candles?
Oh yeah.
I wonder if that would work.
Can you imagine that old Russian cosmoline smell just wafting through the air? You'd think you were in a Russian armory.
Would
Close
smell
your
like
I know how to give Dano a nightmare.
burning communists.
Just outside Dano's open bedroom window with a candle.
Certainly got dark and weird and definitely weird today. So anyway, what's going to happen? But it's probably because there's good moods, because there's all kinds of good news coming, and the show's going to just blow the F up. It's going to be awesome. So we're going to be finally getting to do what the show was all built for. Looking forward to that. Thanks everybody for joining us on the ride this far. Hold on to your hats, because it's we're about to put the convertible top down. So we'll be back tomorrow with episode 345. Is 345 a caliber? No. With gun tech, guns that comply with the NFA, aka the Shockwave. We'll talk about the gun biz, the differences between manufacturers, wholesalers, dealers, and why they should be treated differently regulation-wise. And then for an alternative gun topic tomorrow, is a Derringer enough? Question mark. Of course, we do all our daily stuff like the gun of the day, the gun shop of the day, movie of the day, things like that. I'm gonna put this out there. I want to start doing a book of the day. Are you guys okay with that?
That's fine with me. I don't have very many to offer, but I know you do.
Okay, can you say that on top of each other again twice? Or once more?
Sure. Okay, Bob, you ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, okay, that's good, man.
Okay. So I'm going to screen share over here, and Blue Book of Gun Values. You know that publisher? You've heard of it? The Blue Book of Gun Values?
Yeah.
Around forever. So you figure out how much your guns are worth if you go to a gun shop or something. They're pretty decent. Anyway, they contacted me, I imagine because of the YouTube channel, because I'm so awesome or whatever, and asked me if I would review this book. And it's about Colts, the serpent guns, the 7 Serpents it's called. So I think if I click on it, it has a pretty interesting breakdown. So there's 28 pages on the Anaconda, 10 pages on the Boa, 22 on the Cobra, 56 on the Diamondback, 34 on the King Cobra, 140 on the Python, and then 10 on the Viper. I don't think I've even heard of the Viper. So the breakdown, it's got 350 high-res color images, mostly life-size, depict all the variations, including many engraving options, boxes, all the catalogs and letters and stuff. So basically, ultimate collector's guide to the pythons, to the snakes. So it's interesting. It's a $99 book. They're sending it to me to review. I like to say probably because of the YouTube channel. But what I'm going to do, I've already made arrangements with Tony from the Early Watch and Good Morning Gun Channels, Tony in Illinois, to send the book to him when I'm, taking some pictures of it and looked at it, did my videos and stuff. And what I think this could be the beginnings of is a Gun Channels book circle or something. So we'll just, people that are interested in sending the books, basically. So we don't have the money to pay for the shipping. But if you're interested in, I'm thinking in one of those maybe $11 fixed rate boxes. So if everybody is willing to ship, $11 worth of stuff to each other, we can start rotating some of these books around. that'll give people who are creating content access to some interesting stuff. You know, $100 book. It'll let people that are just interested in researching it, don't want to pay for a $100 book, an opportunity, and then hopefully the publisher that sends it to us, you know, gets all those reviews from it. It makes it worth their while, and we can do it. I've got a whole bunch of books in the library. We could just start sharing some books around, and then that gives the guys something to talk about on Early Watch or on Good Morning Gun Channels. We can talk about a book today over here.
Gun Channels Book Club. Yeah.
We actually already have the Gun Channels Book Club, where we have like a channel over on Gun Channels. If you go over to the channels and go down to books, there's one there for maybe when we talked about books or something on a chat, I would go over there and post it. So, well, maybe we moved it. I thought it was called the Book Club. But anyhow, we basically, every time we would talk about a book, we would post it over there. But yeah, this is taking it to the next level where we're actually passing books around. And then as more and more people see the book, right, then we can all get together and do a hangout or something, chatting about the book.
Yes, that's a good point. And then whoever's got the book at the time has to be, you know, screen share. And so we can look at different pages and shit. It's exactly like what, you know, people do with a book club. You know, they sit around, they all read the book, and then they sit around and talk about it. What they liked about it, what they didn't like about it. That's a great idea.
Oh, it's called Gun Channels Book Club. That's why I couldn't find it. Anyway, it's over here now. So we'll drop that link, and that'll be our book of the day today. I've got a whole mess of books in there that I'll go through, and as the defaults, Bob, I think, has a few books. I don't know what Dano's got or what Smeggy's got, but of course you guys are welcome to throw books into the pot, and then that'll give you something else as the audience to participate in the show with. So if you've got suggestions for the book of the day, again, our email is dailygunshow@gmail.com. We encourage you to give us ideas for the gun shop of the day, for the movies, for guns of the day, even though Bob won't listen to you. And then like this for the book of the day, any real suggestions about the show, we'd appreciate. And now, even more than ever, gun shops that you think would be cool for me to walk into and hang out at. Start leaving them as emails, I guess, and I'm going to be setting up a new form over on the website for people to suggest so I don't lose them, so they're all coming into one place. But anyhow, I guess that's the end of today. You heard about tomorrow. Unless you guys have anything else, we'll see you back here. Or no, wait, we should probably talk about what's on Gun Channels today. What did it say, Thursday? So tonight will be, I saw Tac Daddy said something on someplace earlier. He said that he's going to be, maybe it was on Instagram, that he'll be doing his show, Gun News Weekly. He's been vacationing with his family up in Alaska. I've been seeing a few posts from him along the way. So check that out. He does an interesting show. I know he said before he left on vacation that he's got some big news coming. So I'm sure that's going to be interesting. I think Matt does a show tonight, and no clue if Yankee's still doing his. I don't think we're doing a scheduled show on Thursdays anymore, but every once in a while, if his kickball or something gets rained out, he'll do an impromptu show. So don't be surprised if you do see a Yankee show. Otherwise, it's Thursday. I should probably do an AK show. So I don't know if, I don't think I will, because Bob and I talked about doing a band chat tonight. Are you still down for that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, especially having just driven, you know, an hour and a half in my new van. So yeah.
So, just as an update, I just went over to YouTube, and Yankee has a thing set up, Shooting Left to Center podcast. It says we'll begin in 38 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay, thanks. So appreciate that.
So he did set a video up, so whatever that means.
So then I guess if he's sending me links, then I will head over to that, and then after, me and Bob will do a van chat. Bob just bought a camper van. I am about to buy about to buy a stealth van, the ultimate stealth van, actually. And we will be talking vans, probably way too much and way too late. So if you're interested in such, head over to Gun Channels, I suppose, later, or Gun Websites. It'll probably be posted on the Gun Websites channel. No, it'll probably be posted on the Gear Websites channel. I don't know. It'll be somewhere. You'll find it on Gun Channels. Anyhow, with that, I think we'll see you tomorrow. Unless you guys have something you can leave.
Well, I don't think so. Smeggy, you got anything?
Nope, just the usual like, share, subscribe. Thanks everyone for listening.
So on that, let's And we always like to end with a quote. Everybody knows that. So this one today is by Donald L. Klein. Before that, I would just want to parrot Smeggy there and say, please like, subscribe, and share. Sharing is very important. Put it on your Facebook. Put it on Google Plus. Whatever you're on. Instagram. We don't care. We just want to get the word out there that, you know, guns are cool and we're cool and really interesting show to listen to. We always have a lot of fun. So, shut up, Smeggy. With that, we'll finish it up with our quote. So, Donald L. Klein. Keeping and bearing arms is not only a fundamental right, it is a fundamental duty upon which all liberty and sovereignty is based. Very true words. So with that in mind, thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.